FSU Weather Friday edition. Looking at today, you can see that beautiful sunset over Doak Campbell right now. It's currently 73 degrees and mostly sunny. It actually was a really nice day out today. A little bit smoky, but we'll talk about that later. 73 in Tallahassee and 70 in Apalachicola. So overall, a warmer day than we've seen in the past few days and weeks. Radar is pretty clear. No real rainfall looking out there. There is some indication of those controlled burns that we will talk about later in the show. Our Florida radar, the rest of Florida, you can see that it is pretty much constant. There is not much rainfall out there right now. For tonight, you can see there's times of sun and clouds to continue, highs above or at average, and rain chances returning over the next week. All this and more on FSU Weather Friday edition.
Good evening, Tallahassee. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Friday edition. I am student meteorologist Christian Palacio, and as Melissa was talking about earlier, you might have noticed that there is some smoke in the air, and if you're like me and haven't gone outside, I have not noticed. But on my way here to the show, I did notice it smelled like smoke, and Melissa and I will actually be talking about that later on in the show, and we'll let you know why the smoke has been kind of persisting in our area. But no worries, it is controlled fires. And, but just be careful, you know, it is absolutely nothing to worry about. And later on, we'll also be discussing what is going on with that rain piling up in the southeast within the next 48 hours as a big system is moving along the southeast right around Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, and North Carolina. And we will be getting some of that rain, not for us specifically, further out west in the western panhandle. But for now, we have no rain to worry about, and at least we can enjoy some of that sunny weather. And it's finally warming up, and just yesterday we reached 80 degrees, which was the first time for us this year that we have finally reached the 80s. And it's starting to feel like some springtime weather. And honestly, it's really nice. It's kind of nice to start warming up from that cold weather. But for now, we're going to take our first local segment with Chandler at the wall.
That is right. Yeah, current temperatures 73 degrees, and we can also see that sun over Doak Campbell Stadium. Very beautiful conditions, and well, it's quite an enjoyable day. Very seasonably, pretty seasonably warm, excuse me. And quite enjoyable. If you've gotten outside at all, you know what I mean. It's been quite a beautiful day. And when you look at the almanac, well, today has been a bit above average. However, we haven't really reached that record. And our low for today was pretty high. So we pretty much started off warm, and then we got up a couple degrees, or 16 degrees to 77. So we were pretty warm for today. And looking at those local temps across the Big Bend viewing area, well, 70s for the most part in every location. We also see some lower 70s once you get down to the coastline, St. Mark's, Apalachicola, but it's been quite enjoyable today. You can see that basically everywhere is getting in on that action. Those dew points, though, they are in the 60s for the most part for most of the region. That does contribute to a bit of mugginess, makes you feel a little bit more sticky and humid. So those conditions are slightly humid. And then you look at the radar, well, we see some smoke plumes from what Christian has described, and they'll talk about that a little later. We can also see some radar clutter, but some rain above Bainbridge, but here in the Big Bend region, we're pretty clear. And future radar, well, we see those rain showers make their way north, and we see some clouds start rolling in and some rain to our very far west, but for the most part, we are pretty clear. We will see those clouds, however. So, but tonight's lows, we'll get down to 57 and pretty much 50s across most of the area, 60s when you get close to the coastline. Tomorrow's highs will get up into the 80s tomorrow, and 70s once you get along those coastline temperatures will be a little bit lower. And for tonight, well, we're looking at 56, mostly clear with winds that are pretty calm and mild. And tomorrow, well, we'll get up to 82, like I said, partly cloudy with winds coming out of the south, contributing to that warm air. And for the week ahead, pretty enjoyable conditions. I would say we will see a little bit of rain to start the week, but it's been pretty beautiful conditions so far, and we'll get to enjoy a lot of sunshine for the next couple days. Great conditions for the weekend. But now I'm going to toss things off to Melissa to talk about more sunshine in the Sunshine State.
Thank you, Chandler. So let's take a look at the rest of what Florida has right now. It's currently 70 degrees over Doak Campbell Stadium and sunny. So really nice conditions today. Really beautiful day out to enjoy the weather. Over in Gainesville, it's 79 degrees and partly cloudy with a slight 3-mile-an-hour wind. You see the beautiful skies over FSU right now. As for our Florida radar, you see it pretty clear right now. There is a high pressure system sitting over us right now. So that is why we are seeing very clear skies and little to no rainfall. You can see up north where there's a stationary front, there is a bit more rainfall. So we'll see what comes in the next week for that rainfall. A few scattered storms coming in the Big Bend area, but overall not too bad. Pretty clear skies overall and really nice conditions for the area. Over towards Gainesville and Daytona Beach area, continuing those clear skies and nice conditions for today as we had little to no rainfall. Still the same down in West Palm Beach, Fort Myers, Venice, Tampa. Really clear conditions, and again, that is because of that high pressure system that is sitting just below into the Gulf. For Homestead, same conditions, a little bit of showers coming in by West Palm Beach, so there is a little bit of showers there, but overall still the same conditions, clear skies and little to no rainfall. As for our current temps, it's 79 in Tampa, 79 in Key West, and 73 in Tallahassee. So we are seeing much warmer temperatures than we have seen for pretty much this whole year. So we're definitely getting into those warmer spring conditions and those warmer temperatures that we expect to see in Florida for this time of year. For our dew points, 50 in Orlando, 61 in Tampa, a bit higher down in Key West at 69. Overall, it is pretty moist out right now. So overall, it's a little bit humid. Over the next 24 hours, those temperatures are changing. You see it's 56 in Tallahassee, 65 in Tampa, and 75 in Key West once they stopped changing. So overall, it's going to be cooling off over the next 24 hours, but still remaining quite a bit warmer than we have seen over the past few weeks. See, those temperatures are changing once again. Tonight in Florida, it's 61 in Tallahassee, 65 in Pensacola. Down south, it's a bit warmer at 75 in Key West and 75 in Miami. So again, it will be cooling off, but we will be continuing to have some warmer temperatures. For tomorrow, 79 in Tallahassee. And look at that, in the 80s. We haven't seen that since last year. Finally back in the 80s, 86 in Tampa and 81 in Key West. So overall, getting a lot warmer spring conditions. Now we're going to take a look at the rest of the country with Chandler.
That is right. It is a time to look at that national forecast. Let's look at across the continent. See a lot of rain in the southeast, like Christian mentioned. Unfortunately, they're not getting to take part in that sunshine like Melissa was talking about. We have a stationary front that's ruling southeast right now. We have a warm front that is sweeping across the Midwest. We also have some cold fronts off to our west over the Rockies and over the Great Plains. Taking a closer look at Florida, though, like Melissa mentioned, it's pretty clear, beautiful conditions. Sunshine for the Sunshine State. That's actually great for once. We were in a pretty rainy pattern for a little bit for a lot of February, so have partake in these better conditions. And taking a look at parts of the southeast and parts of the mid-Atlantic, well, they're not getting to take part in that sunshine, let me tell you. You look up into Virginia and into the North Carolina regions, where my hometown is in Charlotte, well, they're all seeing heavy rain, some snow once you get into the higher elevations. You can really see that gradient. And then when you look at the storm outlook, well, we have a potential for some thunder, but that's for today. So some people might have heard some thunder. Some people might still hear some thunder, but it's not for any severe weather threat. and taking a closer look at the Appalachian Mountains and at the Mid-Atlantic, well, you can see that there's a rain that's some snow that's dominating the Appalachian Mountains. However, we have heavier rain once you get into the West Virginia region, and way heavier rain once you get towards that North Carolina-Virginia border. And taking a look at the rest of the country, well, we have some snow cover, some heavy snow up in the northern Rockies, as you would expect. That usually lingers for about into most of the middle of the summer. That provides them with the rainwater that they need for fighting wildfires and as the such. And then we look at the east. Well, we have a lot of snow actually in the northeast right now. That will change once we get into April and May, and we get those shots of warm air that come up the coastline. But for now, basically everywhere north of Chicago is seeing some snow on the ground, unless you are in the Great Plains, where they've already experienced some of that warm air and shooting up the flat states. When you're looking at the Pacific Northwest, they also see some snow in the mountainous regions. However, once you get down to those coastal plains, seeing basically just rain showers that are leaking off the Pacific. Not really heavy rain, it's just mainly disorganized rain. And taking a look at the North Rockies, well, again, we have a little bit of rain over south of Boise. However, it's pretty much disorganized. We might see a little bit of snow showers if you are in the higher elevations. And taking a look at the big picture, well, our current temperatures, they are variable. We've got a mixed bag. We have some very warm temperatures in the southeast, but when you get into those higher elevations in the Rockies, their current temperatures are in the 40s. So I would love that, but I know that it's not going to return probably until November or December for us. When we look at those temperatures for the northeast, they also are pretty cool as well. Taking a look at those dew points, well, the southeast is doing what the southeast does. They have dew points that are pretty high because of that warm moisture that's coming out of the south from the Gulf of Mexico. But when we look at the rest of the country, it's pretty dry conditions. And taking a look at the future radar, well, we have some heavy rain that are making its way through Nashville. And through the next few days, well, we'll see more heavy rain make its way through Kentucky and potentially cause a flood threat for that area. We see that rainfall totals. And tonight's lows, well, like I said, they'll be pretty warm in the southeast, and they'll be pretty cool in the north. But tomorrow's highs will also be similar. But now I'm going to toss things off to Christian and Melissa to talk about fire weather.
Yes, thank you, Chandler. That was quite an imaginary looking country you got there. But we're going to talk a little bit more about the wildfires that you may have noticed.
Yes, so we had some controlled burns here in the Tallahassee area today. So that did show up on radar, and the area was a bit smoky if you went outside. I know I didn't go outside till later today, but there was some smoke in the area from those controlled burns that was clouding the skies.
Yes, and like I said, I hadn't come out of my apartment until just now when I came to the show, but it was definitely noticeable based on the smell in the air. But it was still pretty clear for the most part, and there's a little bit of the brown and orange hue smoke that you can see in the sky. And well, we're going to talk about why there has been seemingly the smoke just kind of hovering around. And the reason why that is, as Melissa and Chandler has said earlier today, there is actually some smoke that's been lingering around. The high pressure is keeping it on the lower and the mixing layer that is sort of the ceiling of what's going on for our area. So as you can see further down, like north of Carabel and south of us, that is not rain. As we've said, that is smoke. And sometimes the graphics will pick that up. And there's the fires to give you guys some insight on what that looks like. And this is what we're talking about, Melissa, right?
Yes, so the smoke stays at a lower level as that high pressure is causing a sinking motion. And it traps that smoke underneath an inversion layer. So it causes the smoke stay at a lower level and stay where we can see it and smell it and
right
at our level in the area.
Right, so if we take a quick look at our low visibility occurrence risk index, We are somewhere around in the middle, the dispersion, and so there's a little bit of humidity in the air. So it's not going to be, so what we're basically saying, it's not going to be totally low visibility outside, but it's also not going to be the clearest, and it doesn't allow for the smoke to just kind of clear its way out. And so, but this was added for in the late 90s as, especially there was a big car pileup on I-4 back in 2008, and this is why that's added to the National Weather Service, right? What do you think about that, Melissa?
Yeah, so it was a really tragic event that actually led to creating these advisories to make sure that people stay safe in these conditions.
Right.
But it's nothing to be concerned about. It is controlled burns. So overall, it's going to be a nice day. Don't worry too much about any smoke you might smell around the area.
Yes, and so thank you all so much for taking into consideration, but do not be alarmed. These are in fact controlled burns. So currently we are sitting at 73 degrees with some mostly sunny skies, and like I said, you can kind of see that brown orange hue from the smokes that are settling in right now, but no worries, it is under control. And when we started to wake up this morning at 6 a.m., we were sitting at 62 degrees, and we gradually warmed up to 77 when we reached the 4 o'clock. And so it has noticeably been a lot warmer for most of our days today. But we're currently sitting at 73 in Tallahassee, and it's 75 up in Thomasville, Monticello, and Valdosta. And it is a little bit cooler when you go along the coast, 70 in St. Mark's and Crawfordville, as well as 71 down in Apalachicola. Now our dew points, we do have some humidity right now, and we are sitting at 62 for Tallahassee and Monticello, 63 in Thomasville, and 62 in Apalachicola. And like we said earlier before, that humidity does not help with the smoke trying to disperse out of its way. So it's just kind of helping it sit there. And as was said before, the controlled burns are going on right down here as well as down here, and all of that is spreading into our metropolitan area right now. There's a little bit of rain that you can see that is further up in southwestern Georgia, and we do have some clouds right now. It is going to clear up within the next few hours, but as we get into tomorrow, those clouds will be returning throughout the whole area. It's going to be scattered, and we will see some rain in the western panhandle. For our rainfall forecast, this is going to be happening in the next 48 hours. For the most part, in our area, it's going to be fairly clear of rain. But as you get further west into Pensacola, Panama City, there will be almost nothing to half an inch of rain. And as you get further up into Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, they may be seeing a little bit more. So for tonight in Tallahassee, it's going to be mostly clear, 56 degrees, as those clouds will be clearing out. And if you're going to take your dog tomorrow, it's going to be really nice because it's going to be 64 in the morning. It's going to warm up to 76 around lunchtime, and then it's going to be 80 at 3 in the afternoon. Tomorrow it's going to be partly cloudy skies as those clouds will be coming in. And for Saturday, well, it's going to be still partly cloudy, Sunday as well. And we are going to start off next week with a little bit of rain, so please be aware of that. But what's going on with the rest of the Southeast, Chandler?
Well, I would say rain, rain, and more rain. When we look at Gainesville, though, they are chilling just like us with those nice, beautiful conditions. Really great. Like you can see a little bit of clouds up in the very top. However, it's pretty beautiful conditions. But not the rest of the area can say the same. You talk about Atlanta, Georgia, they're very cloudy. 49 is their current temperature. Look at Blacksburg, Virginia, and well, they have some rainy conditions actually. You see a few smudge marks on the camera, and well, those clouds are really heavy and they're sinking. You can just see that they're producing a lot of rain. We also have heavy clouds in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Again, pretty rainy conditions for the southeast. And when you look at throughout the rest of the southeast, well, we have beautiful conditions once you get into the coastal areas, and in Florida, we have 70s across most of the area. However, once you start getting into Tennessee, well, we see those cooler conditions, 46 in Little Rock and 58 in Nashville. So again, pretty cool conditions once you get into those rainier regions. And looking at those dew points, well, we have pretty high dew points once you get around the coastal areas. So 62 in New Orleans and 63 in Montgomery and 62 in Tallahassee. That is pretty high. Once you see those dew points and those temperatures combined together, you really have these muggy conditions. So we are sitting at a little bit warmer condition or muggier conditions in the southeast. And that's because of the wind that's coming out of the south. It's bringing that moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and really making muggy conditions, but also warmer conditions. So pick your poison, I guess. You want warm and sunny skies, or do you want those cooler skies, or those cooler temperatures and those cloudy skies once you get up north? And when you're talking about the radar, well, again, I said there's some rain sweeping its way across the southern Appalachian Mountains and across Tennessee and North Carolina. And we have the stationary front that's really ruling the southeast, and we have some rain also in Alabama and Georgia. Taking a closer look in Memphis, well, we see that they're finally clearing out. The rain is making its way eastward, but as you get closer to Nashville and Huntsville, Alabama, well, they have some heavy rain that's just pouring down in this region, really producing some nice, or not nice, but some uncomfortable conditions. And you're looking at the storm outlook, well, again, we're talking about potential for some thunder. However, it's not really actually stormy conditions, nothing to be worried about. And looking at future radar, well, we see this rain that's just streaking its way up across the southeast, really pouring in the mountains too. However, they act kind of like that shield, really not allowing as much rainy conditions to be in the Carolina region. I know from experience that that is a blessing and a curse, because we also keep those warmer conditions when everybody else cools down. And looking at the rainfall forecast, well, we see that that rain starts its way up from Louisiana. It stretches all the way into West Virginia and the Virginia region. Really some heavier rainfall totals. And looking at the storm outlook, well, once we get into the far southeast and into the Great Plains, well, we see that there's some marginal risk for severe weather. So keep an eye out for that. And looking at tonight's lows, well, they're going to be variable, with conditions ranging from 55 in Nashville to 67 once you get down into Tampa. But overall, if you've seen sun today, you can expect some more sun. And for tomorrow, again, really beautiful conditions. But now I'm going to hand things off to Melissa to take a look at the northeast.
So the northeast, unlike Florida, is not nice and sunny. We see it is also much colder, 40 in New York, 34 in Albany, and 31 in Burlington, even colder up in Cebu at 16. So really cold conditions, especially compared to Florida right now, where we're seeing highs in the 80s. As for our dew points, much drier than down south as well. 21 in Albany, 20 in New York, 17 in Harrisburg. So much drier conditions coming along up north. As for the wind speeds, you see slight breezes coming through. Boston at 9 miles an hour, Albany at 5, and New York at 5. So overall, there is a little bit of a wind coming through. Most areas are rather calm, however. For the national radar, you can see it's actually somewhat clear, but there is rainfall coming in. You see that cloud cover and rain moving towards the rest of the area, towards New York, and up further north. Go a little bit further south in the northeast. You see that cloud cover and that rainfall coming into Norfolk and Raleigh. There are even some snowfall over near Charleston more. So overall, not the greatest conditions, especially to down south. Definitely a lot of pretty nasty weather to be looking out for. That water vapor satellite, you see that moist air is moving out towards the Atlantic, and drier air is coming in behind it. So overall, some pretty moist conditions, but hopefully we'll be drying out and not much more coming in behind, but we'll have to see in the next few days. As for water vapor satellite up north more, you see that there is some snowfall in Albany or some moist air in Albany and Scranton. Down in New York, bit drier in between Syracuse and North Bay, and then that moisture continuing when you get farther north. For the future radar, you see that rainfall continuing to move into the northeast and moving off into the Atlantic out of the northeast, going through Burlington and continuing through. So overall, really rainy conditions expected for the next few days and this weekend. So definitely not the greatest weekend if you have plans to go out. For the snowfall forecast, see there is some chance of snow in Albany, Burlington, and coming up the center of the northeast. So there is some snowfall to look out for over the next few days. As for tonight's lows, 32 in Albany, 41 in New York. So much cooler conditions than we are seeing further south. 5 in Caribou. So overall, really cold conditions. However, for most people that live up there, that might not be that cold, but still might need to grab a sweater. For tomorrow's highs, 41 in Albany, 50 in New York. Up north more is even colder at 38 in Bangor. So really cooler temperatures compared to the south and much warmer down south. So we'll be turning it over to Christian for one last look at Tallahassee.
Yes, thank you, Melissa. And oh my, I really would not want to enjoy those really cold conditions if you ask me. And luckily for us, it is starting to warm up. And look at that insane look with the sunset behind me. But right now, it is 73 degrees with some partly cloudy skies. The winds picked up a little bit, 8 miles per hour. And when we woke up this morning, it was nice, cool 62 degrees. And it gradually warmed up as we headed into the afternoon. We reached 77 at 4 o'clock. And right now, we're still having those controlled burns going on just south of us in Tallahassee. And we are still seeing it happening around us right now. Eventually, the smoke will be going away. If you look a little bit further north in southwest Georgia and southeast Alabama, there is some rain that is lingering around. And of course, it is much heavier as you head up in the northern part of the southeast. But for the most part, Florida is looking pretty clear right now. For tomorrow's highs, it's going to be 82 degrees, Monticello as well, Thomasville, Quincy, and it's going to be 83 for Bainbridge. St. Mark's, Carabel, and Apalachicola along the coast is still going to be relatively in the cooler low 70s. And for tonight in Tallahassee, it is going to be partly cloudy with 56 degrees, and the winds will calm down as we get into the evening. And for the week ahead, it's still going to be very warm in the next 3 days. Monday, we're going to get a 70% chance of that rain, and it looks like we're going to have to be dealing with rain for the rest of the week. But you know, we're going to be closing out the evening with Chandler. What do you got to say, Chandler?
I have to say, I was tricked when I moved down here. I was told this is the Sunshine State, and I've seen too many rain shower icons in that 7-day. Slightly irritated, although when they do clear up, it's beautiful conditions. When we look at Saturday and Sunday, well, we'll be sitting pretty beautifully with those 82-degree temperatures when it comes to Saturday, and Sunday will also be at 80. So again, beautiful conditions for Saturday and Sunday. Got to cash in on those beautiful days because we will see a return of the rain come Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU weather. Also, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/FSU weather. And also, watch us live on YouTube. Just look up FSU weather in that search bar, man. And also, follow us on Instagram at FSU weather. We would love to see your guys' photos and images. And for all of us here at FSU weather, we would love to stay in chat. However, it is closing. And we'd love to say, have a good day, have a good rest of your weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday. But this has been student meteorologist Chandler Pruitt. Good night.